just teasing.
I thought you were like, hello, welcome to my world. Hello, it's a perfect day. Give me
Well, we're recording, so
Ah!
I'll go ahead and let you do your introduction.
Hello, all. Welcome to my world. My name is Crystal Ekman.
What are the many names that people call you?
Chrissy, Crystal Sue, Tweety. It just all depends on who I'm with.
How you feeling? How you doing? We're back. We're back like we never left.
I am doing good. Like I'm doing good. I feel good. It's been a productive week. I'm doing really good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I gotta stop saying
Oh, that's a big one. I did not even realize.
Have to stop saying
Yeah.
Work with me here. I'm getting there.
But guess what? Guess who's behind the camera? I don't think we have introduced who's behind the camera and who is the machine behind the artist, the talent, the entrepreneur, activist, spokesperson, mom, wife, child of God, everything. But no, it's your little cousin, your boy. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get some questions popping. So we're gonna go ahead and dive on in while we're here today. What's today's topic?
Today's topic is mothers.
Yeah. Shout out to all the moms, all the expecting moms and moms to be, and grandmoms, aunties, everybody.
Yes, those who have lost, those who have gained.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the mothers.
Yeah, that's a big one. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. But okay. Cool. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a couple of questions in, have a dialogue between us, and people get to know you a little bit better, right?
Yes.
Okay, great deal.
To my
all right, cool. How old were you when you lost your virginity? No, I'm just teasing.
No.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I'm just teasing. But let's go ahead and dive right on into it. So we're going to dive on into motherhood, what it's been like for you on your journey. I mean, you are, a mom of a 3-year-old teenager? What?
Three-nager.
Three-nager.
He's a three-nager.
Okay.
He brings me so much joy. But he tests my gangster every day. You understand me? Every day. Every day.
I remember how I was. I can remember.
But you come to realization that these are tiny human beings. He's a tiny human being with huge emotions. He's a toddler. And so he just came into this world. He's trying to figure it out. Understand, and we as parents, we are here to guide him and lead him in the right direction with the help of God and with the help of village, but mainly parents.
Let me ask you this. From the outside looking in, from my perspective, you have been this, and I'm unbiased, right?
Yes, you
because I have been unfiltered in the past, right? I mean, we just getting to this point as far as in our cousin relationship. We cousins, by the way. She married. She got a whole husband. Anybody out there looking at my cousin, she got a husband.
Fully married,
okay?
Happily married,
Okay,
Okay.
it's Mrs. Epkin to you if you nasty.
Stop.
No, just want to know, like, as a woman in your womanhood and all of that, you've been. Would you say that you've ever had an ugly duckling stage, or would you say that you've just been blossoming into this flower that you've always been and that you are right now?
What?
Yeah, I gotta
Yes.
give you flowers where flowers are due. I mean,
Yes.
you are beautiful.
Oh, thank
If
you,
you wasn't my
cousin.
cousin, if you wasn't my cousin,
Stop
and if
it.
you wasn't
Just
married,
stop it. Oh,
yeah,
yes,
no.
I can honestly say that and I think we all do. I had an ugly duckling stage. And if you watch my videos previously, I just posted a video on my Accutane journey. So go ahead and check that out. But yeah, I went through an ugly phase. I went through an ugly duckling phase. And I think when I got into like my early 20s, late 20s, I started like, figuring myself out, finding myself and what I like, what I don't like. And just went from there. And I kind of just continued to blossom into the woman that I am now. And I'm still learning, I'm still growing. And it's still a journey, but I'm here for the ride.
Well, that brings us that brings us to our first question.
Mm-hmm.
Here. So, what was your childhood like?
Oh, my childhood was, I can remember certain things that were great, and I can remember certain things that were not so great. But overall, um, I can say that I had a good childhood. Um, and I can also say I had a not so good childhood. I can say up until 10, up until 10 years old, I understood childhood and what childhood was. But then when I turned 10, it was as if it shifted. Like childhood shifted to being an adult child. Um,
That's real.
I started, cooking, cleaning, helping with homework, baths, and it wasn't considered as it was considered as helping, but it wasn't considered as helping. It was considered as playing the second mom role. And at the time, I didn't understand because I was just this, 10-year old
Spoiled,
being there for
rotten.
my mom, for my mother,
Yeah, but
making ends meet and just trying to.
let me put this into perspective for a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people. It is what, a 4 or 5 year difference between the next sibling under you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So by the time you were 10, you had
Two
two
siblings.
younger
Yes.
siblings under you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time you were, what, in 98, you was how old?
In '98, I was in the 8th grade.
And you had a
So
newborn
I had
sibling
a newborn
that
sibling.
came.
So I had
Mm-hmm.
three siblings by the time I was in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. Just to give
So
it perspective.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Handling what was going on in the household, as well as my siblings, as well as me and growing up and seeing things I shouldn't have saw. I shouldn't have seen. If I said that right. Doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. I should have been outside playing. I should have been hanging out with, my friends. I did sometimes. Sometimes I hung out with my friends, but it was like pulling teeth and nails to get out the house because
It was sporadic.
yeah,
It was here
mama
and
needed
there.
me at the house. She
Mm-hmm.
needed
Mm-hmm.
me to stay at the house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think for a lot of generations that came before us, they really don't speak on the
Mm-hmm.
fact of how women, even while in relationship, they operate as if they are single and they
Exactly.
navigate life
Yes.
like I'm really stretched too
Yeah.
thin, right?
Yep.
And they pull wherever they can. But that's how we seen it coming up, right? We seen it coming up, you
Yep.
know. Just, I mean, you can elaborate a little bit more on that. I mean, there was somewhat of a like latchkey kids,
Yeah.
I mean, we're first cousins, so our moms went through it. They saw it firsthand, and then passed it on down to us, right? You would
Mm-hmm.
say, and then I think our generation as millennials is something that we're just trying to put a stop to in breaking that pattern of children raising themselves
Mm-hmm.
and fending for their younger siblings and
Siblings.
things like
Right.
that. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. And then what? I mean, what? You were a babysitter for what? Almost a decade, 10 years. Not
Yeah.
even for your own siblings and cousins,
Mm-hmm.
but other people, children, right? You kept other
Yes.
children for occupation, not for free, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Wow, that's
No,
trauma.
not. I mean,
That's trauma for
no.
real.
Like I said, I enjoyed baby. So what I learned when I was, helping take care of my siblings, it kind of helped me,
Mm-hmm.
in the future because I had families that I would help, take care of their children, and they trust. And now that I'm a mom, I can see like you don't want to just leave your child with just anybody. So to know that they trusted me with their children, they would go out on vacay, they would, hey, stay the night, da 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 da. Just to know that they had that sense of security to know that they were in good hands. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm grateful and blessed for that. Like
Good,
I
good, good.
enjoyed when I was younger, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, ugh, I hate taking care. It's my siblings. I didn't understand. But as I got older,
Yeah, she about got cussed
yeah.
out by me. Cause
As I got older,
we a good.
I adore kids. I love kids. I
Yeah.
adore them.
Yeah, and people also look up to you unintentionally, right? You didn't seek out mentorship or anything, but there are young people
Yeah.
that look up to you,
That I've
right?
yeah, that I've heard, that people
Right.
have told me. Yeah.
Well, let me go ahead and drive this conversation in another direction here.
Okay.
What were you like in high school?
In high school, I can say that was probably my ugly duckling phase. That was my ugly duckling phase. Like, oh my goodness. I'm referring back to my Accutane because that was the main thing that took over the course of my high school years. Was I had cystic acne, like, on my face. Like, so I was very, like, behind the scenes. I was very, like, to myself. I was in theater. I enjoyed theater. Hey, my thespians, hi. Um, but I was really to myself. Most of the time. Most of the time, I was to myself.
For real?
Can you pause this? Pause. Pause.
Let's get into girl groups. Girl groups.
What about them?
You were in several girl groups in your
I
time,
was. I was
right?
in several girl groups. And as you can see, they did not pan out because I'm still here. So
Inserts pictures of girl groups. I'm just.
yeah.
So you sing, you sang. I
I
mean,
sang. That was
speaking of that, it's what I mean. We were both inspired by our grandmother, right? Who is a
yes,
singing
Lulu,
bird. I mean, goodness.
Luella,
Yeah,
Miss Luella
yeah,
Jones.
yeah. I mean, you would say one of
she
your.
was she was and has been an inspiration when it comes to singing. I can speak for both of us. She had been singing to us since we came out the womb. And
And then not only that, like.
can I finish my statement?
Oh, okay. But
Sure.
I could just say this because I know you would agree when it's one thing for the gift to be passed down from generation to generation, but okay, so I can remember being a toddler and watching her perform in rehearsals, at home, and then watching her perform in front of a live audience like it's the first
Time
time
she ever did it. Yep.
and getting goosebumps, right? Like getting moved, not knowing at that time I'm being moved by the spirit, right? And
Yes.
something in me said, you know what? I want to do that. And I feel like that's the same thing for you, right? You wanted to move people in
Yes.
that same way. And
That and when I was in church and I would hear grandma sing, like that was the first thing that again it was the Holy Spirit, but also it was just more so of I looked at her in admiration, just like, oh my God, grandma has the mic in her hand and she's singing and the folks at the church are like rocking and they feeling it and yes, Lou, yes. And it was just more so like, wow, my grandma, I want to be like my grandma. I want to sing like my grandma. And then from then on, that's when the singing bug has just been with me.
yeah,
So
yeah. So, what happy memory will you cherish forever? What happy memory will you cherish forever?
happy memory. Does it have to be in my childhood or like
Anything,
anything?
anything off the dome, off the dome.
The happiest memory that I've ever had, I would have to say 3 years ago when when we had our son, when I had my son.
Okay, okay.
That was like one of the most
That's
happiest
hard.
memories ever.
That's hard to top that. Hard to top that. Okay, okay, okay. So let me bring it back down, back towards your parents.
Mm-hmm.
How would your parents describe you?
My mom, my mom always tells me no matter what we go through, or but just I can remember from growing up on even up until now, she'll just say, Crystal, you have a light. That's what she always tells me. You are a light. When you walk into a room, you just brighten up anybody's day. You are a light. And so I still believe that. And that has stuck with me. And I think that's why I always have this positive, like at I'm not gonna say attitude, but positive perspective on things,
Mm-hmm.
because I just try to look at the better side of things
Mm-hmm.
instead of always thinking
Mm-hmm.
negative.
Oh wow.
And even though the negative thoughts I do think about them,
Mm-hmm.
I still try to look at the glass
Positive.
halfway
Mm-hmm.
full.
Okay.
It could be
Okay.
worse.
Speaking of that, when you think about a fork in the road in your life, what was it and why did you choose that particular path? Have you had many forks in the road? Is it too hard to choose one? How many?
I've
No,
had a
I'm just
lot of forks in the road. Um, I can take it back to when I was 18 years old. I was in between graduating and turning 18 and trying to figure out what I wanted to do after I graduated. And at this time, I had met my mentor, and she kind of took me up under her wing, and they are now my godparents. And um, it was either because, again, I'm in high school and still being an adult child, helping take care of my siblings and whatnot. But it was either I had to make a choice on whether I was going to stay, but I knew if I stayed home that I wouldn't be the woman that I am today, um, or leave the nest and take that journey that's been waiting on me. And that was a fork because I want to stay. I want to help my mom. I want to be there for my mom. But there were other things going on that I just couldn't sit in.
Yeah.
And I had to make that choice and make
Yeah.
that decision. And I decided to leave.
Right, right, right. You want to be.
My own.
You know what's so funny? I just watched the Red Table Talk with Janelle Monáe,
Mm-hmm.
and she talked about coming out as non-binary, and in the midst of that, she was saying that she came from such a religious, heavy faith-based background in her
Mm.
family. So I can imagine for you
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you're going up against everything that you love, but at the same time, you're wanting to thrive as your own self as an
Mm-hmm.
individual, and you couldn't do that
Mm-hmm.
due to the circumstances. So it
Right.
was like a tug and pull a
Right.
little bit. So let's switch gears a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, who inspired you the most?
Who inspired me the most? My getaway of my inspiration, my getaway was music. Music was my getaway. Whenever I would, hear screaming, hear shouting, just chaos all around me, music is what I ran to. So I would put on some Mariah Carey, put on some Whitney Houston, put on some Anita Baker, put on some Brandy, put on some Destiny's Child, put on some. I would put on music and I would learn music and I would learn songs and I would lock myself in a closet and I would just sit there for hours on end and just sing. So that was my inspiration. That was what I did to get away from it all.
I have a question for you.
What you got?
All right.
What?
If you had a choice in the
Mm-hmm.
matter, what would have been your name? Other than the name that you were given at birth, what would have been your name?
I always like Grace as well as Elizabeth.
All right. Okay. What is something that you have always wanted to tell your son? I know it might be a little early. He's only
Mm-hmm.
3. What is something that you have always wanted to tell him, or you would want to tell him in the future?
I tell him this now. Even though he's 3, I still tell him. I tell him to always remain confident, always keep God first. And if anything ever happens to mommy and daddy, we're always right here. We're always going to be with you, no matter what. Um, and I tell him when he walks in the room, you demand your respect.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
yeah,
arrived,
yeah,
okay?
yeah. Hey, listen, best trip. What's the best trip of your life?
Best trip of my life, I would say, happened when I met my husband. Hawaii. We went to Hawaii. That was the one of the best trips of my life, and it was with him. So
Okay, okay, okay. If you had the chance to
mm-hmm.
do it all over again, would you pursue the same career path?
No,
Yeah.
no, career path. No, I really wanted to do OB-GYN. Like I was thinking about going into OB-GYN.
Girl, you still want to work with people.
Or
I wanted you to be a singing star. Be a singing
that,
star.
yeah. I mean,
We got some singers in the family,
yes, we do. We
like
do.
across the.
And I thought about forensic pathologists too. So
Mm-hmm.
those two. So I probably would have picked those two careers, but the first one, of course, would have been a singer.
Okay, okay,
A
okay.
singer, a singer.
All right, I'm gonna follow up with what is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret, hmm, getting involved with people who are no good for me. Biggest regret. Okay, so let me say this. So what I do, what amazes me the most is two things. Again, mental health matters. So yeah, I love that mental health and endometriosis is being talked about now more than ever. Mental health is being taken more seriously than it was in the past, and endometriosis has been taken more seriously than it was in the past. So those two things I am just blown away by. And when I say blown away, I mean to have friends, and myself included, like going to therapy, like not sweeping stuff under the rug and going to therapy to talk about it and not feeling or being embarrassed about going to therapy is awesome. It's just awesome.
Okay, cool. I got a follow up question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you miss about the old days?
Oh, the old days. What comes to my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I miss getting out of school, going to practice or rehearsal. If I was in a play, that was fun for me. And or when I didn't have practice, getting home, grabbing a bowl of cereal, watching The Family Matters, watching Fresh Prince of Bel Air, watching Full House. So staying up to it, I think it was like 10, watching Martin, knowing doggone well I ain't supposed to be watching Martin, but I was watching Martin.
We all
I
was.
miss the nostalgic of it all. I miss
Mm-hmm.
the in Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know y'all know about Ghost Rider. That was my joint right there. I would watch me some Ghost Rider. And the
Okay.
mime game. I just miss that whole era. Like I miss the simple things. It was just so simple, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Good stuff, good stuff. So let me ask my next question for you. Looking back
Hmm.
at your life thus far, what are you most proud of?
I am most proud of the traumas that I have endured and how I've gotten through them by the grace of God. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of where I am mentally, physically, getting back there to where I want to be. Spiritually, I'm proud of that. And every day we have a chance to do better. So every day I wake up, it's a day to do better. I give my day to God and let Him guide me each day.
Okay,
So I'm
okay.
proud of that.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a good follow up question. So, what did you discover in the last decade that you wish you discovered sooner?
Couponing.
Oh,
I say couponing, but it all has to deal with financial literacy.
hmm, okay.
We were not taught financial literacy back in the day.
Hmm.
Okay? Because again, growing up single
Survival.
mom, it
Hmm.
was survival mode. You spent what you had to get what you needed
Hmm.
till next paycheck. So
Hmm.
um
People still going out
yeah,
buying a
people
double
still
cheeseburger.
but no, it's financial literacy, and we are currently working on some things. So I'm glad that what's the word I'm looking for? I wish I would have known that.
Hmm.
And then even with couponing, the stuff that I find and that I get at a low price compared to paying full price for,
Hmm.
definitely saves. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and wrap it on up, but first I want to ask, what do you wish you spent less time doing?
I wish I spent less time working, going to work for somebody else. That's what I wish. I wish I could spend the 8 hours at home doing what I love.
Hmm.
And
That's real.
it's real and it's possibly about to happen. So
Okay. Okay. You putting it out there. You writing it down.
mm-hmm.
You hand it
It
in the
is a
notebook.
goal. Um, yeah.
Okay.
Tired.
All right. Well, let me ask you this
Mm-hmm.
before we bring it on to a close. Yeah. When did you know that you wanted to marry my cousin-in-law, Mister Etkin, your husband? When did you know you wanted to marry this man?
It was literally 3 dates in that I knew that he was it.
3 dates in, sister.
But mind you, well, I'm not gonna say 3 dates in, but mind you, it was his actions behind the dates and during the dates. But it was like plenty more dates before that, but we didn't count them as dates. We were just counting them as getting to know each other. So after some months of seeing each other, talking to each other, meeting
Courtship.
up with
You would say courtship.
Yes. And then
Courtship.
we went on
Niggas
dates.
not doing that these days. They're not doing that no more.
And then we went on dates. So let me rectify that. It wasn't just like, oh, let me take you out on a date, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then it was like, oh, now you wanna no. He was courting me.
Yeah.
And as he was courting me, when we went out on our dates.
Now, you got anything else you want to add? Any closing remarks, things like that? Anything you might have left out or?
No, just
no. Y'all, we coming. We coming. That's all I got to say. We coming. We coming. I mean, it's more to come. So
yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I hope you enjoy. Give me some.